Yeah, you wanna put that dish in your mouth.
Wish you could slide into my mind and make me mine. Push play rewind. Let's whip outside, and so am I.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dylan B. White. I'm Mr. Trans USA 2022. I'm here with my queen.
Hi guys, my name is Marisol Treviño, Miss Trans USA 2022. I'm from Chicago, and my nationality are Mexican. So, very welcome everybody.
Welcome, everyone. And we are here today interviewing our candidate for Miss Trans Florida 2023, Justine B Knights. And we wanted to give a little bit of a brief introduction about her, but we also wanted her to explain a little bit more about her background herself. She describes herself as an activist and influencer, is a classically trained flute player, and a dancer and an actress. So without further ado, we're going to jump right into it and bring in Justine. Welcome aboard.
Hi.
Hey,
How y'all doing?
good, May. Very welcome. Thanks for enjoy us and this journey to Miss Trans USA 2023.
Yes, I can't wait.
So we know we gave you them a little bit about yourself, these little bullet points, but the reason we don't go too much into it is we want you to tell everybody a little more about yourself in your words.
Yes. Well, I'm 23 years old. I'm originally from New York City, the Big Apple, but I now reside in the beautiful sunshine state of Tampa, Florida. I've been here for about 5 years now. Before that, I was going back and forth from New York and Florida, and I absolutely love it. Love the theme parks, the beaches, and I think I can say I'm a Florida girl now.
That's fun. Have you ever been to Florida, Marisol?
Yeah, I was in Florida in July. I was stay there for 13 days and what is Miami Beach.
Yes, love Miami.
Yeah, beautiful.
So
I
beautiful.
can't wait to go back.
Let me know, girl. We'll turn up.
We'll just make it a whole thing. I fit in suitcases.
Yes.
I probably shouldn't say that since that show came out, but
Oh my gosh.
right? I'll cut that. I'll stop. So it's really nice to have you. And I know we had a big thing with Florida being one of the really popular states this year. And I don't know if anybody knew this going into it, but there was a fight for the state of Florida for our girls. They were waiting to hit send. And I think that may be because a lot of the issues going on in Florida right now, too, and the need for people to represent the community.
100%.
So I know that there's a lot that goes on with the don't say gay sort of bills, but what other issues do you think are affecting the trans community in Florida right now that people may not know about?
I mean, besides the trans community, I think there's definitely a lot more that's going, I would say going wrong right now. We have the abortion ban laws, we have equal right laws that are not getting followed, in terms of workplace. A lot of my trans brothers and sisters, have been getting let go from their job, and it's due to reasons that's not right. Okay, with them being trans, with how customers are reacting to them, and if they're not getting let go for right reasons. So I would say equal opportunity for our trans brothers and sisters is really suffering right now here in Florida. I myself have been victim of that, and a lot of other people that I know.
Yeah.
So Dylan he said that you are an activist. What is what you do for the trans community already?
So I recently had a benefit show. Me and my sister Sadie Elise, we went ahead and had a benefit show and raised money for the local Tampa Bay LGBTQ Chamber Foundation. This foundation helps our LGBT community, specifically our trans community members, go back to school. They help fund that, help them find jobs that are LGBTQ friendly, and all of that. So that's what I've done recently. We raised a good amount of money for that. So I was really happy to put that together.
I think that's wonderful. And I love hearing the stories that people have, the contestants, the representatives, that everybody's already doing so much work. And that throughout the year, I think that's going to be great to see everything that you do.
We've also done a protest show for the Don't Say Gay bill, as well as the recent abortion ban that was going on in Florida. So that's something that we've also done.
That's amazing. And any information, like if you're going to be doing more of those things, obviously we want to send and share with everybody all of the work everyone's doing.
Yes, definitely.
I think that it's really kind of important because you mentioned being an activist and the work you do. And I kind of want to modify this one question, because as far as activism is concerned, do you have somebody that you consider a role model for yourself as an activist?
As an activist, I wouldn't say that. Unfortunately, I don't see a lot of things like that going on here in Florida. There's not many people in our community right now, especially with a lot of the younger queens and kings. They don't really see the issues that are going on right now in our LGBTQ community. And I feel like I'm one of the few people that are here in Florida, in Tampa, trying to make a difference. But there is other things outside of that. There's a lot of hate crimes going on here in Tampa towards the gay and LGBTQ community. And we do see a lot of that, specifically in Ybor City here in Tampa, where a major of our gay clubs are at here in Tampa. And they stand out, protest that how wrong it is and how we're going to hell, and saying all these Bible verses. And it can get very intense, you know? So I feel like I am one of the few people that are trying their best to make a difference in our community.
I'm glad. So you are that role model.
I think so. Now, I do have a lot of other role models outside of the activism portion. Like my father, I've been very lucky growing up to have a very supportive family. I have a lot of gay, lesbian, and bisexual family members. So I feel like I was very fortunate to grow up in the family that I did. I feel like my father is a really big role model for me. And one of my drag aunties, I would say, has been a really big inspiration for me. Miss Amy DeMilo here in Tampa. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with her. And she has really been a really big trans inspiration for me, and been a big help emotionally, mentally, physically with my transition.
How long you be in the transition, babe?
So I'm 23. I've been transitioning since I was about 17 years old, and I was a junior in high school.
Okay.
So I have to ask on that, because for me, I was not fortunate enough to have that kind of experience in high school. So if you're comfortable sharing, how was that transitioning in high school?
So, I mean, at first it was very, very difficult, not only for me, but for my dad. It's not that he didn't accept me. It was just, he was more worried about me. He was worried that I was going to get picked on and bullied. And I had to really just reassure him, like, I can stand my own. You know what I mean? And I grew up getting bullied a lot, not only before I transitioned when I was growing up as a gay boy, but after I decided to transition, then it getting further and further with the bullying and harassment. And it got to the point where I just said, I don't care what you are saying, you know, so I just didn't let it affect me. I don't let nobody steal my joy. So it's something that I definitely had to work on growing up, and especially after high school, dealing with that mental effectiveness of them like bullying me all throughout my life. But it gets to a point where, like, girl, you don't pay my bills. I do not care. You know?
That is one of the questions that was on that list. If you kind of had a message you wanted to send to that younger generation, the trans kids and their families, what do you think that would be?
I think that message would be very simple, very clear, something that the younger them would have to understand. You know, you don't want to get too complex into it to where they're like, kind of like, what did they say? Like, what riddle was that? You know, my simple message would be never give up having hope. And as long as you are comfortable and happy with you, ain't nobody can steal your joy. Nobody can take that from you. They don't have that right. You know, just be you, because it will get better.
Right. again, that's such a positive message, and you're just the way you radiate that message too with your smile and the way you're just actually believe, like you actually
Thank
believe
you. That
it's
really means a lot.
no, it's something I think everybody needs to see. And that's something that we try to do with the pageant itself. It's all about that trans excellence, that positivity. So that's kind of like one of the other things I wanted to ask. If I said that phrase, trans excellence, what does that actually mean to you?
I mean, I feel like it's going to be open to interpretation. You know, some people may be more humble about that and say it can be anybody and everybody can be trans excellence. It just depends on what you do to make that next foot forward, to open that door for your next generation of trans brothers and sisters, you know? I think that's what I would say.
Like yeah, that's kind of like the best answer for me. Is like it means something different for everybody, you know? And,
Yeah, definitely. It's how you take that and push forward, you know?
yeah, love it. So let's there's a lot of serious stuff we've been talking about. Okay, and this is the question I've been asking everybody because it's one of those things that you never really get asked in an interview, but it's silly. So if I asked about like a pet peeve, but not even like a major one of the silly things that if you told somebody you were upset about, like people, why do you care about that? For example, for me, it's clipping nails. I can't stand the sound.
I would say, I mean, I don't know if it would be considered a pet peeve, but I would say a person's lack of confidence. You know, I feel like everybody should be happy with themselves and you shouldn't care what anybody thinks. And if you doubt yourself or if you have that lack of confidence in yourself and then project it out, then that's where I'm like, girl, come on now. You look beautiful. You're not fat. That top looks good on you. Those jeans do make your butt look good. Like, don't think negative, you know, and don't project that negativity out. You know, I remain positive 100%. I have to remain positive or else those bad thoughts in my head will come out. And then I have the little devil on my shoulder. And nobody wants that. You know, nobody wants the little devil controlling their life, you know.
Because it's at some point, you know, if you're constantly stuck in that mentality, it starts to like be pervasive. It starts to color the way that you live your life. So having that positive shift and being able to change that story for yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
So we talked about, again, the issues that you have in Florida with just the overall community, not just the trans community and everything going on. And we know that being activists in the work that we do, we always tend to focus on the next issue, the next problem, the next fight. But if I ask, like, if you could say there's something right in the community, what's going right for us? Do you have any idea about that?
I would say, yeah, I think there's a lot going right with our community. I feel like in the past 4 or 5 years that I've been in the Tampa Bay LGBTQ community, I've seen it with my own eyes grow stronger and stronger and stronger. And when that community is as strong as what I see it is now, nothing can break that. No homophobe, no racist, no transphobe can break that. You know what I mean? And I've seen that our community grow stronger and stronger every single year.
I mean, I can definitely say the same thing. Even from transitioning like as early as I did, or as long ago as I did, I should say, the beginning of that, the last 12 years or so has been just a whirlwind of a shift in all of the things that have gone well for us. Like there are a lot to go, but that's the most important point. There is progress. There is a lot being done. Yeah. And I think that we talk about that progress. So we'll shift back to that. Okay. Where do you think is an area that, you know, people have misconceptions about that's hindering that progress?
Misconceptions that's hindering that progress. That's a good question. Let me think about that.
It's okay to think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see a lot that is hindering. I would say actually, you know what? Oop, light bulb. The lack of education. A lot of the younger generation does not understand what the gay and LGBTQ community has been through, you know, for the past 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years. You know, there's been so much history within our community and fight for our rights. You know what I mean? And it's the lack of education for the younger generation that is honestly hindering a lot. And what I do love about the younger generation, though, younger than me, okay, because I see a lot of kids in the club. I know I'm 23, talking about Bracker Made, like, but I'm talking about like fresh kids, 18, 19 years old, coming into the club, first time at a gay club. They've never experienced this before. They don't know what it's like 20 years ago, to walk in a club and then get arrested for wearing women's clothes or arrested for women wearing men's clothing. You know what I mean? So I think it's the lack of education. I will say that younger generation is open to learning, okay? A lot of the older generations feel like, oh, those kids never want to learn. They don't want to work. They do. You just got to give them that extra hand to show them that, this is what you need to know to make the community grow stronger.
Exactly. And I think, that's something that a lot of us, it's the thing we've worked for. I'm a bit older than you and that generation, but
well, you don't look like it. I will say that. Still.
But it's seeing that a lot of them, what we did fight for is for people to not have to think about these things, that they're lucky, yes, and we're lucky that they may not have to ever have faced those kinds of things. But you're right, they still need to know that history.
Yeah, definitely.
Where they've been, to help them in the next fight they do have.
Because it's coming.
It's coming. I mean, we see it. Yeah. It's a midterm year, so yeah, definitely coming.
Yeah.
So going back to the pageant itself, because I had not met you, honestly, seen before this, really. So what kind of made you interested in Trans USA?
So I love pageantry. Even before I started doing drag and started doing pageantry, I used to watch like those bio girls pageantries and stuff, like Miss USA and all that. So I used to watch a lot of that, and I used to be obsessed with pageantry, like these beautiful gowns, these beautiful swimsuits, beautiful hair, jewelry, and all of that. And then I got into drag, and then one thing led to another. Started doing drag pageants, won a drag pageant. So,
which one?
Just like and then I am the current Miss Florida Royal Pride of Nation at Large 2022.
Okay.
Yes, my give up is in November, so I will be passing that crown on next month. So I will be a former after that, and then hopefully I can snatch Miss Trans USA.
Let's just add that to the shelf.
Yes, please.
I think that, and that's something that I've said too. If even no matter what happens, having that, once you see that Florida sash and you're walking around with that, and people down there see Miss Trans Florida, and hopefully eventually Miss Trans USA, like that experience you're going to get with the kids you've talked about in the club, seeing that feeling for both of you is going to be something like you'll never forget.
100%.
So I think that that's a really fun part. And I haven't asked anyone this question yet, but I think it's kind of fun. Why do you think people should, outside our community, support the Trans USA system?
So you mean outside of our community as the LGBT community, or just the trans community?
Outside of the trans community, I'm sorry.
Outside of the trans community. Okay. I definitely feel like they should support this. One, because it was the trans community that originally stood up for equal rights back in New York City. Trans people are the ones that started this revolution, the ones that said we need to fight for our rights. You know what I mean? And I believe that they should support this because it's something that is changing history. You know what I mean?
Right, because there really isn't much like this. This is a completely different environment, and it's something that we want to focus on.
Yeah,
you guys, and that's one of the things that I feel like we can kind of talk about in the last few minutes is the pageant itself not being about drag, and I think that says a lot about the experience of trans people. Like, we're not just here for your entertainment when you want it. This is a life. It's a human life. We all have different experiences. So I think that if that experience, is there something that in your life as a trans woman, you would feel like some people are surprised about your experience? Is there something that maybe that always catches people? Like when you tell them about your experience?
No, I mean, I don't feel like I've experienced any of that. I've been very, very blessed growing up. And I feel like I was one of the fortunate ones, to not have to experience that. Now, anyways,
Yeah.
beginning my transition, it was very, very difficult, like any transition is.
Yeah.
As any of us will know, the beginning of our transition is the funky part, but once you get there, you get there, And now I don't experience any of that, and I'm very fortunate. And I just really want to spread my message. I want to, help every single trans individual that I can, not only improve themselves and help themselves mentally, physically, but also educate them to help others, start that chain reaction.
And it's kind of the whole point. And you'll have this platform now for the next year and maybe longer, hopefully longer, right? So there's a lot of work that goes into it. And I know that most people that I've talked to, we're working so much and it's constantly being in the community. But what do you do to relax? Like when you're not working so hard with performing or being an activist, what's your downtime look like?
Okay, so as you guys know, I'm a classically trained flute player. So on my downtime, I sit here like Peter Piper and sit here and play the flute. I'll get bored and just like, oh, I want to play this Mozart song I haven't played in 5 years, and just sit there and play it until my neighbors bang on my door,
Right.
Another thing, well, in Florida, the one benefit of living in Florida is that we have medical marijuana. So as long as you have your card and you're legally able to go to the dispensary, that is another thing I advocate for. I'm a huge medical marijuana advocate as well. So
I think that's, as somebody with chronic pain, I definitely understand that and appreciate that. It's very few things other than that work without the side effects. So I mean, I'm an advocate for that as well.
Yes, that's what I do on my downtime, really.
Yes, no, totally fine with me. And I have to ask. I was in marching band, so I definitely, I'm a drummer. So the neighbors, like that problem. I live in an apartment, so it's definitely hard to. So I empathize. Like I want to just keep playing sometimes.
So as long as it's not going on late at night, there's like in Tampa we have a noise ordinance. So at a certain time, you can't be like blasting music or you can't really be loud to your neighbors. But in between that time, like I got till 11 p.m. So don't come banging on my door until 11:01, okay?
Right.
Or don't call the cops until 11:01 because you can't do that.
Like you
So
should enjoy this.
I'm as considerate as I can be. I wouldn't play past like 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock anyways. Usually it's in the daytime, usually I'm working at nighttime with my shows and everything. So yeah.
So what clubs do you do your shows at?
So mainly Southern Nights, Tampa, and Bradley's in Ybor City. There may be like a block down from each other. I'm based out in Tampa. I sometimes get booked out in Orlando, St. Pete area, Fort Myers area. That's usually where I'm mainly at.
Gotcha. Definitely want to. Hopefully, I can visit because it's getting cold up here. So
Yes, definitely let me know.
Yeah,
I'll show you a good time.
Again, edit it. No, just kidding.
A good time is like going out.
I know. I'm just teasing. We can't all be super serious all the time, right? And I think that's one of the things that people get nervous about when we talk about representing the system and representing. They think it's always about this fight, these issues, and there's a big part of it, but a lot of it is just us having a brotherhood, sisterhood, a family to be silly with and have fun.
Definitely.
So that was one of the big things for me, and I think this is a really good point to end everything on because we're heading that time. We always do talk about as activists, as people who are fighting for those rights, the work that goes in, what we want to do for a system, what we want to do for the community. But I really wanted to ask, what would you hope to get out of the Trans USA experience this year?
I hope to build my platform and reach a wider audience, not only in Florida, but across America and even past that, all around the world, to relay my message of how important it is to have equal rights as a gay person, a lesbian, a trans person, bisexual, etc., whatever the case may be. I really, really, really want to grow that platform to spread my message all across the world.
Yeah, you wanna put that dish in your mouth.
My name is Justine B Knights, and I am your Miss Trans Florida 2023. I am beyond excited to be representing Florida this year for the Miss Trans USA pageant. My goal is actually to use my platform to not only make a change, but to truly be a voice for each and every transgender youth here in America today. I hope that you all can join us in Milwaukee, Wisconsin from November 3rd through November 5th for an absolutely amazing night of pageantry. I am Justine B Knights, your Miss Trans Florida, vying for the title of Miss Trans USA 2023. And I thank you. Mwah.
Yeah, you wanna put that dish in your mouth.